Al-Asad Air Base is about 100 miles west of Baghdad in Iraq's Anbar province. Freelance journalist David Axe visited there earlier this year while embedded with a squadron of Marine aviators.
In late January, I was embedded with a Marine Corps fighter squadron from Beaufort, South Carolina, at Al-Asad Air Base in western Iraq, about 100 miles west of Baghdad. Al-Asad is a former Iraqi fighter jet base, and it's one of the biggest bases in Iraq. It's so big, in fact, that the U.S. forces have sliced it into two halves. The northern half is occupied by Army and Marine ground troops, and it's the southern half with two 10,000-foot runways where the flying squadrons are located. It was a pretty active base back in the pre-Gulf War I era, late 80s, early 90s. And the fighter jets, the Iraqi fighter jets that were stationed there, are still on the base. They're just derelict. They've been stripped of engines or bombed in, any one of the air campaigns against Iraq. Al-Asad is home to about a dozen flying squadrons, most of them Marine Corps. There are fighter jet squadrons that fly attack missions to support the ground troops. There are tanker squadrons that fly these big C-130 Hercules tanker planes that refuel the other aircraft to give them more time on station. There are squadrons flying what are called prowlers, which are these aircraft equipped with electronic jamming pods that can disrupt the signals that detonate improvised explosive devices. There are also a large number of helicopter squadrons that transport troops and supplies around Anbar province. Hundreds of sorties fly out of Al-Asad every day. Marine Corps all-weather fighter attack squadron 332 has about a dozen jets and 30 aircrew who fly missions supporting Army and Marine ground troops who are fighting the insurgents in cities like Ramadi and Fallujah. 332 flies about a dozen sorties a day. Each jet flies about once a day, and each sortie lasts about 2 hours, which is pretty much the limit to the jet's endurance unless they hit a tanker and stay on station, which they'll do in an emergency, but routinely they just exhaust their onboard gas supply and come home. Most of 332's missions involve responding to calls for help from ground troops. In addition to dropping bombs and firing their guns at insurgents, they carry camera pods that they can use to conduct reconnaissance for the ground troops. So if the ground troops see something that some suspicious activity around a building or something, and it's too dangerous to get close, the jets can fly overhead and zoom in with their camera pods, which can see in both day and night, and relay the information to the ground troops.
I'm Major Lance Muniz. It's Cal McGreasy here. We took off this morning right at sunrise. Went out over Ramadi to support the Marines out there. The weather was a little bit marginal, but it got better. Basically, all we did was fly over top of Ramadi, looking at the standard points of origin, or where the known historic sites of where they run into a little bit of trouble. So we just flew over Ramadi, put the pod down in that area, and was just looking for stuff that didn't look out of the normal. Suspicious, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, it was a good day.
What's the most interesting mission that you've been on out here?
There have been several that have been, pretty exciting. One of the most exciting we had was actually just a couple weeks ago in Ramadi, and we checked in on station, and they actually had a TIC going on, which is short for troops in contact, and they're basically looking to establish some positive identification of the hostiles. We could see where the friendlies were firing to. We got our sensors in on the building, and within a couple minutes we were able to deliver a laser Maverick, and basically destroyed the portion of the building the insurgents were in. And
what's a Maverick?
It's a laser-guided missile. It's a little bit smaller than, a little bit smaller impact, collateral damage than a 500-pound bomb, which are some of the JDAM and laser-guided bombs. But it's perfect for kind of the urban environment that we're fighting in.
So have you ever had the opportunity to meet any of the ground troops that you support on a daily basis?
I haven't met any of the troops per se. I had a chance to meet several of the forward air controllers. A lot of times when they come back to Al-Asad, they'll come over here just to kind of say hi and kind of see how we're living.
Yeah, what's that like, meeting these people that you hear on the radio all the time?
It's great, actually. It really gives you a sense of really helping the guys on the ground, and it gives you a little bit more purpose to be able to put a name with the face on the radio. And as a kind of junior guy, I don't have the advantage of really knowing these guys from flight school or from the basic school. So for me, getting a chance to meet them, hear some of their stories, it really lends some worth to what we're doing.
So tell me about your daily routine. Just a typical day. When do you wake up? Start then.
When we wake up kind of depends on what cell we're working, but...
What does that mean, your cell?
The cell is what shift we're working. We divided the squadron up into basically 3 8 to 10 hour blocks, and you always fly within one of those 3 blocks. We shift them every month just to kind of keep things from getting too routine, becoming too complacent. But I typically get up, try to get up a couple hours before I have to be at work. I go hit the gym and come in here, and you basically start mission planning. We've been flying almost every day. So you come in, you read what the facts are requesting for you for the day, and basically get ready to fly.
Okay, so after you've flown, what do you do with the rest of your time?
It's actually been great out here. You've gotten a lot of chance to study. So, I try and hit the books for a little while and kind of learn up on some of the knowledge we're going to be, testing on when we get back, because we're going to be moving into an air-to-air syllabus rather than the air-to-ground work we've been doing out here. But try and do some studying, probably eat a good dinner, and then head back to either smoke a cigar, read a little bit, or watch a movie.